Hello and welcome to Chatty Chat Solo Edition, we're going to call it. This is very strange for me. Yes, my chair is very loud. That is the chair that I'm sitting on. I'm normally on that one for YouTube video watchers, and today I'm on one of the ones. If you're an original listener, if you've gone back and listened to the first, I'm going to say 10 episodes, not even, probably first like 6 episodes, you probably hear a lot of in the audio, and that's just from Demi's and my large frames moving on these chairs. Unfortunate, yes, but anyway, in case you've never listened to us before or never watched us before, so you're 99.99999% of the population of the earth, this is usually where myself, Rob, and my wife, Demi, talk about random shit. Usually movie or pop culture related, but yeah. Basically, just chat shit. Chatty chat. And then we had our third baby. And more accurately, my wife had our third baby. Because I did a whole lot of just this. Yep. Breathe. Yep. You're doing great. Excellent. For like however long it went for. Third one, so not long. I keep looking at this little thing here instead of you. Sorry. So if it looks like I'm just staring off into the distance, it's because I'm looking at myself. Because as a human, I look at another human, not a terrifying HAL 9000 lens. Anyway, this episode is mostly just going to be me rambling for upwards of 20 minutes, I hope, about books that I've read this year. And you might be like, that guy can't fucking read. And honestly, getting back into it was pretty tough. But before I do that, I've got some box office news. As anyone who knows anything about anything to do with the box office, The Marvels is not doing well. But that hasn't stopped it. As of Thursday, November 16th, today's Saturday, November 18th, but it updates slow. So on boxofficemojo.com, The Marvels were at 1,251,387, which is dismal for a movie that came out a week ago. Then Priscilla, which I didn't know was in cinemas, for 417,000 something. I'm not going to read all the numbers out. It's very hot, and I'm very tired. Our baby is 3 days old, so yeah. I'm just joking. It's a baby girl, and she's lovely. But even the best times, it's like the mental load. Five Nights at Freddy's, it's 355,000 plus. Killers of the Flower Moon, 339,000, which is surprising for a movie that goes for like 4 days. And The Holdovers, if gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what that is. So, and it's at 268,500. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the, I don't know if that's domestic, I don't know if it's worldwide. Honestly, I don't care. But some sort of box office, the Western world somewhere is watching those movies. The Marvels that's like atrociously low. For an MCU movie that came out a week ago to make only just over $1 million in one day is like just fucked, just shit. So yeah, that's box office news, and I have literally no other news other than I guess the actor strike ended probably like a week ago. I don't know. Time is an illusion to me at the moment. Anyway, with a baby, 2 other kids. Should title this episode "Watch a Man Have Just a a breakdown on camera. Not even a breakdown, just like melt, like into a puddle. What other news is going on? Oh, they cast Pedro Pascal, which I really fucking hope this is a prank. They cast Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Just dumb casting. Like there's no like big argument. It's just, I mean, it's not a race thing. It's not like he could be black, Asian, Spanish, any varying South American, white as he is in the comics. What else is there? The other stuff. My brain's any color, any ethnicity, none of that matters to me. But you got to get somebody who's nerdy. You know, like they're clearly going for an older guy, so Pedro's there. But like, why not go for somebody like Rami Malek? I think is his name. Yeah, he's getting on. He'd be in his like late 30s at least. Like that's old enough to play older. He's perfect. The Mr. Robot guy, I think I got his name right. If you wanted to go younger for somebody who's also not white, Justice Smith, what the fuck? Whatever his name is, the guy from Pokemon and Dungeons and Dragons, someone like that kind of vibe is who you want, not the coolest man on earth. Like you can't get somebody who the internet has called Daddy to play Mr. Fantastic. It just doesn't work. What other news? Oh, the trailer. This is mostly a comic book movie, I guess. I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man 2, so this is on my mind. But the Madam Web trailer came out. What else happened? That's it. Oh, that's not my spine. Again, that's the chair. You can see we've got new posters. We've got a that way. Lord of the Rings map. Then a Rick and Morty, Rick's peaceful, Shy Pooper episode thing. New season 7 that's out at the moment is fantastic. Most of the time don't even notice the new voices. Again, I'm not sitting on an empty Coke bottle. That is the chair. I've made a grave error by using this chair. But we're here now, so we may as well suffer together. E.T., James Bond, and still have Threat Level Midnight. I almost said Michael Scarn. There were a couple of Thor ones, but they went up in our son's room because they love them. There was one that's like the Thor Love and Thunder bit of comic, and that went up on one side because they share a room, the boys. And the other one was just like it was like this with the axe from the movie. My brain is just a puddle of just shit. It's a puddle of shit. So that's on the other side, and they are chuffed as. So thank you to our number one fan, Cameron, for, I'm not going to say stealing, for getting those free samples from work. Cheers, mate. If you're still here for the train wreck, we're moving on. I say we, I, us, you and me together. Let's just go away for the weekend, just me and you. You don't have to tell your husband and or wife / significant other. That's right. We can just have a good time and, go to that place we always talked about going to. And, it can just be us. Leave the kids at home. You know what I mean? Where the fuck is the thing that I'm looking for? I'm loving it. We've just been sued by McDonald's. Also, if you're keen for Fanfic Fridays, that's coming. I am finding people who've made basically just fucking just real, like the kind of fanfic you really think about. There's only two types of fanfic that it's real loud. There's only two types of fanfic I want to read. One, horrifically gory, just disgusting, like mean-spirited, just clearly someone getting their anger out on a character. And two, smut. So, I guess we're doing porn now. Maybe we should sign up for OnlyFans. Now there's an idea. I bet there's a market for watching a fat guy read someone else's fanfic. There's got to be a market for that. There's got to be. Anyway, I guess the episode of this, I guess the title of this episode will be the One Man Book Club, because I'm got a list of all the books I've read this year, and so I'm just going to move on into that. So, at the moment, I'm reading, I'm reading Exiles by Jane Harper. I got onto her books from Suggestible, which you've probably heard of. If you're listening to this or watching this, you've probably heard of Suggestible before, because they're, infinitely more successful and have been around for a lot longer. And they suggested this author. And the reason why I wanted to read the books is because I got hooked on the tag for The Lost Man. Because this is the fifth book. They're not in a series, sort of. It follows, this book follows a character that was in the first two books that she wrote. And stuff to do with them is kind of like mentioned, so I guess it's kind of like a spoiler. So you would want to read them in order. But the fourth book that she wrote, as far as I remember, has nothing to do with the rest. So you could start there like my wife did. Whereas I started with The Dry, which is now a major motion picture starring Eric Bana. And the sequel to that, Force of Nature, is also, I don't know if it's out yet, but it should be coming soon. Also starring Eric Bana in the lead role. Then after that, I don't know what they're going to do, but we'll see. Anyway, so basically today I'm just going to go through all the books I've read this year and talk about what I thought of them. This is going to be pretty quick. And you'll find a running theme here. And hang on. Let's stay in, goddammit. You can see how tired I am. I want you to see. If you're like, maybe I should have kids, I want you to watch this. That's not like so you'll not want to have kids, but just so you'll be like, this guy's saying that his baby's not even too bad. Look how tired he is. It's just the way it goes. That's just kids, man. Anyway, so at the end of last year, Demi and I talked about wanting to get back into reading. Because I used to read non-stop. All the Goosebumps books, I read the Inheritance Cycle, I think I read a couple of the Hunger Games. I'm just talking about popular ones, but I used to read a lot. For somebody who lives in the country. My family called me a bookworm, but I was like, I'm just normal. I'm not, but I was kidding myself. That sounds so edgy. I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to dye my hair black. Get some eyeliner. Yeah. Anyway, so I picked up a book that I'd started a couple of years ago and was like, but I'd always remembered that book. And I was like, well, if I can remember it, it must be pretty good. So I started reading again. It was Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. Fantastic. 9 out of 10, let's say. It gets the cash. It is fantasy-ish. It's more like Viking stuff, but it's not Vikings. It's set in a fantasy world, but there's not wizards and dragons and shit, but you gotta read it to understand. But it's basically just real grim, real intense. You know, a lot of like incest royal stuff and slaves and rape and murder and it's a rapey book. I don't think it is, but there's a lot of murdering. Anyway, so it's really good. It's I don't even want to say anything. Just go out and read it. If you like Game of Thrones, if you like, even if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like I don't want to say that. That might spoil it. If you liked Vikings, actually, stuff like that. It's real grim and real like even the good guys aren't really like that good. They're just doing the best they can. Then I read we got library cards because we were like we just fuck buying books all the time, like Jesus Christ. So we got library cards, and I never finished the Artemis Fowl series. I loved it, but I couldn't find The Last Guardian anywhere, and I didn't check the libraries because I grew up in the bush and it just didn't occur to me. But I didn't really see it out at the shops or anything like that. But I read Artemis Fowl, The Last Guardian, and it is... I definitely should have read it at the time, because now I'm like, man, I'd read it in like a day and a half. But bloody good way to end the series. I don't know if Ian Colfer's returning to that world, but I've got to look into it. I haven't seen the new movie. Oh, new movie. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. Fuck. The movie, and I never will. Then I read A Fatal Obsession by Faith Martin, which is a mystery, which just really... It was just a book that I read, Like, it wasn't really outrageously bad. The mystery was good, but there was a lot of stuff that was clearly just in there for the next book, or the book after that, or because she knew it was going to be a series. And I really don't like that, or I don't like it when it's done in a way that... Like, if you're going to have stuff that's set up, at least have it pay off. Not even pay off, like, be relevant in this story. Whereas it wasn't. So I'd say like a 6 out of 10. Still gets the cash. Fallow by Daniel Shand, which was my next book. 9.9 out of 10. Fucking fantastic. If you like real sad shit, but it's not like... that's not a good way to frame it. If you like stuff that isn't just like real nice, it's just very, very matter of fact, but it's also really fucked at this. I don't even know how to describe it. I really want to reread it because it was just intense. It's fantastic. One of the best stories I've ever consumed. The Dragon's Reign by Tim Mullins. They had it in the thriller section, but it's definitely fantasy, and it is about dragons. Like, it's sort of more sci-fi, because of the way that they do it, but it is definitely like a fantasy story, and it's Australian. I'd say like a strong 7 out of 10. It would get higher points, except it's written by an Australian, but he uses terms like gas station and stuff like that, which, like, what the fuck? Like, no. Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. I'd always seen people talk about this. I've seen Good Omens, which is based on the book, which was co-written by Terry Pratchett, and I was like, that's great. I'm pretty sure I have read another Terry Pratchett book, but I can't remember what it was. Or seen something related to Terry Pratchett, and I was like, Hogfather's meant to be good. And it is. 8 out of 10. His books, I've read a few of them, as you'll get in, and they always do the same thing where they take just it's just like a roller coaster, just like, just like a little bit getting up there, and then when it goes, it fucking goes, which I appreciate. But he has a very distinct, or has, I don't know what you'd say. He's dead. the writing style in his books is very distinct. It's loud. I know. I apologize. But I don't care. I'm just polite. I gotta hurry up. It's already been 20 minutes. Then I read Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, which was horror. I like a good horror book. As I said, I read Goosebumps, which, when you're a kid, that's scary enough. Is excellent. It's fantastic. Obviously, I'm not a African American in the 50s, but just as a story, 8.5 out of 10. I liked it. I know I'm ranking this out of 10, but just to give like an accurate, like how much I liked it sort of thing. It's just good. I haven't seen the show. I read up on it and was like, oh, this seems to depart fairly early from the book. I'm not interested. I do know that in the show, someone writes the book and it's meant to be like their version of what happened. And I'm like, no, thank you. TV show can't just be like, actually, this is the real thing that happened, and the book is just a bit of fiction from the story of the TV show. No. It should be the other way around. The Houseboat by Dane Barr, which is mystery, and right up until the last, I want to say like 3 or 4 pages. I can't remember if there's an epilogue. If there's not, then the last 3 or 4 pages. If there is, then ignore that. But like the ending, the very like last couple of things, the last thing that happened, this book was like a 9.9 out of 10 as well. And then with the ending, it dropped to like a 4 out of 10 because it was like, I don't want to say edging. If you don't know what edging is, look it up. But it's kind of like that, kind of like, not anticlimactic, but just a bad climax, in my opinion. Aurora by David Cope. 9 out of 10. Fantastic. I'm going to reread it. It's fucking great. Go read it. The Good Turn by Dervla McTiernan. 7.8 out of 10. It's also good. I probably should... I haven't really been describing the books, but I don't have time for that. I'm just talking about whether or not they're good. And then you should listen to this and be like, I'm going to read that based on his recommendations. I might put up a screenshot of my notes app that has the titles of everything. But I've just been keeping track of the books I've been reading this year. And yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, The Good Turns was 7.8 out of 10. I haven't got that written down. I'm coming up with these on the spot, by the way. It's good. It's just good mystery. It's good. Solid. Nothing amazing, but it's just good. And it doesn't feel like it's part of a series. It just feels like, which I think it is, but it doesn't feel like a thing that is just slots in it. It feels like its own thing, which is life. Oh, there were a couple of bits where people would talk about something that happened, and I'm like, clearly, there's another book before this, but oh well. A Time to Die by Wilbur Smith, which was recommended to me by my father-in-law. It was bloody good. I'm not really a fan of these kind of books, but it was a lot different than just like he's a man, he's the only one who can stop him. His name is boring name. And he is going to be the one to take down the bad guys because he's got something and he's the best. There was a lot of that in it, but with the backdrop of like Southern Africa and hunting and everything, it was just really neat. I thought it was really good. So I'm going to say like 8 out of 10. Let's go with that. Half the World by Joe Abercrombie, which is the sequel to Half a King. What did I say for Half a King? It was like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever. Whatever I said for Half a King, go like one higher or like half a thing higher for half the world because I thought it was as good, but I liked it more. If that counts for like a rating, I don't know. Um, Maybe because it continued the story. Maybe it's like it is the perfect sequel, but it is also you could absolutely read it on its own and it's totally fine. Fantastic. The Choke by Sophie Laguna, and this book honestly almost made me cry. Like not just like oh shed a tear, like it almost made me sob. It is so fucking sad, and it is Australian as well. Oh no, was there another one that was no? The Choke. It's Australian, and it will choke you to death with tears. 9 out of 10. Mort by Terry Pratchett, which is kind of it was written before, so it's not a prequel, but it's like a precursor to Hogfather. And there's a few books in the middle. It's hard to explain. 7 out of 10. I liked it. It was just a lot slower than Hogfather and a lot less payoff, but the stuff that was good was so good it didn't matter that much. A book that I apologies. A book that I had started reading when I was a kid because I got it from school at our end of year thing and never finished. Vampirates. So it is a children's book, but still, by Justin Somber. It's an Australian book. For a kid's book, 7.5 out of 10. It was good. It was good. It's just like, obviously, there's a lot of things that don't really grab me as an adult. But yeah. Then I finished the Shattered Sea trilogy with Half a War by also Joe Abercrombie, obviously. 6 out of 10. Was not a big fan of where it went a lot of the time, and was a lot of the time was like, what's happening here? He definitely needed longer to finish it. He released Half the World and Half a War in the same year, like 9 years ago or some shit like that. And honestly, I think he should have had another couple of cracks at it. But yeah, it wasn't bad, but it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Especially because the first two are so good. Like, they're so good. So, yeah. Conviction by Frank Chalmers, another Australian. Excellent. Very Australian, which I appreciate. All of the Aussie ones, except for the Dragon's Reign, are, but it's just like, I don't know. I think it's because it's Queensland, so it's like extra. But yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Very good, excellent. The Darkest Season, which is like French Canadian Conviction. The stories are so similar. I'd say like a 9 out of 10. Maybe it's because it leans into like some possibly, which I'm not going to spoil for anyone, maybe there's some supernatural stuff going on, but the mystery I think was a lot more gripping in The Darkest Season compared to Conviction, whereas Conviction was more about the guy. It was more of a detective story. The Darkest Season was more of a mystery itself, which I appreciated. It was R.J. Ellery who wrote that. So yeah, like 9 out of 10, like I said. Nebraska Shootout by Corba Sunman, 4 out of 10. Functionally, nothing wrong with it. Was it one of the most boring books I've ever read? Yes. Moving on. And I've spoken about a few of these books in other Chatty Chat episodes, so go back and find them. Audio or video. Most of them are audio. Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. Fuck me. One of the best books I've ever read. 9.5 out of 10. I love it. I love this book. I just really enjoyed it. It's the same writing style as Hogfather and Mort, but the character that it follows, I really resonated with a lot of the time. Oh, and I started reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. But I spoke about it on the podcast another time. I just wasn't into it. It's good. It's really good. I really like his writing style and everything, but it's just not something that I'm into. And yeah. So, and like I said, I'm currently reading Exiles, which I'm up to chapter, I want to say 6. Maybe chapter 7. Chapter 7. Fantastic so far. Exactly what I've come to expect from Jane Harper. Awesome. What else can I talk about? I think that's like 20 books. Oh, I did also start reading Deeply Odd. And it was, again, I was started reading it on a day when I was kind of like trying to force myself to read it. And I was like, I'm not into this kind of book right now. So then, the same thing I did when our second son was born. That's when I first got The Dry and read that with him on my chest. Doing that with our daughter now with Exiles, and I'm only up to chapter 7 because I usually start reading and then fall asleep. So that's going to take a while. You wouldn't believe it, but I cannot remember a single fucking thing that I've said. God, I'm tired. But yeah, people should read more, I guess, is like the point of this. This definitely wasn't something that I just came up with at the last minute, because I need to upload this tomorrow. But I think that any movie or TV show that you really like that's based on a book, you should, and I need to get into the habit of this, but you should read the book as well. Even if it's before or after, doesn't really matter, because it's just usually what you can come up with in your brain is usually better. And I stand by that. And I really think that people should be more invested in reading books. Even comic books, like just any kind of written literature, fuck, you know what I mean. But yeah, that's it. I'm not going to turn the camera because I don't want to deal with that shit. But I've got The Dry, The Lost Man, The Survivors. What don't I have? Oh, Force of Nature. My wife started reading it and she didn't finish it. She just stopped because she slacked like that. Anyway, what have I been up to since the last time we did one of these? I turned 28. So there's that. I became a father of a daughter. So 2 not insignificant things. I really haven't been doing much, honestly. It's been like pretty hectic lately, and then the baby was born, and it's been a few days, and it's just, yeah. I lifted, I'm into strength training, and this week's been pretty slack, as you can imagine. Sorry, alright. But I lifted, I'll put the video here right now.
Can he do it? Here comes some crushed ribs. He's nearly there.
Yes!
You did it.
Press it.
Yes!
Just break the weights.
So as you can see, I just lifted. The words aren't coming to me. It was meant to be a power clean, but let's just say clean. I don't know. And pressed 100 kilograms. And then for like the next 3 days, I felt like I was going to die. It was like a true 100% 1 rep max. Like at the time I was like, oh, maybe I could have chucked 5 kilos on there. But then the next day, the rest of the day, I felt like I was just going to pass out. And then the next day, my whole body was just out. Just fucked. So that's pretty much all I've been up to. Oh, playing 100%ed Spider-Man 2 just so quick. Just fucking just jammed that out. I got nothing else for you. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I'm going to go lay down after this. So yeah, sorry that this was a low energy episode. Sorry that there's been no themed episodes and no commentary track for the month, but that's fine. For Patreon, it's coming. This month is War, and the first one will probably be Fury. Oh, no, not Fury. I don't know. We both picked World War II, so I might pick 1917 instead. I haven't decided yet. Demi hasn't even put the post up, so that'll probably, by the time you're watching and listening to this, that Instagram post will be up and you'll be able to check what I decided on. So, yeah. You can find us, or mostly just me at the moment, on Cash versus Trash Pod on Instagram, Facebook, X, kind of, Threads, not really. It's very hard to access that and actually engage with it. I haven't tried in a while, though, so they may have fixed it. Whatever listening app you use, you're already using it, so, why would I tell you to find us somewhere else? You'll figure it out. And YouTube, you could be watching this on YouTube, so you probably figured that one out as well. But, yeah, please please rate, review, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, 5-star rating, all that kind of stuff really helps us out. Check out our Patreon. I'm selling this so good. Fuck. I would have been the real Wolf of Wall Street if I'd been on there. Yeah. Anyway, you can probably hear baby crying now. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. This has been a public meltdown.